Hi, I'm Rick.
And I'm Sharon.
We are Cargo On.
Cargo Conversion Building Camp. We feature camper tours, interviews with builders, campground reviews, and we offer camping tips. If that's your cup of tea, then please subscribe. Hey everyone, you are in for a treat today. So we recently traveled to Kettle Creek State Park in Pennsylvania. And in this video, Rick is sitting on top of the vista point that overlooks Kettle Creek State Park. Imagine being a 12-year-old boy hunting for the very first time and shooting a bear. He's told me this story before, but there was something about seeing him sitting on top of this mountain and knowing that he was reliving this experience. I mean, right down below is where this happened. It's a story that not everybody can tell. How many people do you know that have killed a bear?
Expert advice, Dorsey Calhoun drilled Leidy Township's first successful deep gas well about a quarter-mile south of here. On January 8, 1950, the well hit natural gas at a depth of 5,659 feet, and for a time it brought up an estimated 15 million cubic feet per day. This news attracted national attention, and within months, more than 30 companies and independents were in here drilling before the production ceased. Now, when I was a boy, 12 years old, my father brought me up here, and the second day that I ever hunted, I shot a black bear on Dorsey's property. And I met Dorsey as a young man. Very interesting character. When I was a boy, my father worked for an engineering company in Harrisburg. And one of the employees with this engineering company was a man by the name of Bob Freeman. And Freeman was married to Dorsey's daughter. And he came up here and went bear hunting, and we'd get a group together. The year that I shot my bear, we had 28 people in the party, in the hunting party that I was with. Dorsey had 2,500 acres, and he had a bulldozer which he loved to drive, and so he bulldozed roads for it, and it was just the perfect place to go bear hunting. Dorsey had taken his bulldozer and he blazed roads all through his property. So he'd have a road going along the top of the mountain, he'd have a road going along the base of the mountain, and every so often have a road going from the bottom to the top. So we would drive up across the top of the mountain and then drop drivers down for these bear drives, people who would walk the side of the mountain. And you space those people every 150 feet or so apart, so they could either see one another or at least hear one another. And they would walk the side of the mountain, and on the top road and the bottom road would be someone who stayed alongside of them or slightly ahead. Those were your flankers. And they would flank the drive in case a bear would come try to go up or down and cross the road. And you kept walking the side of the mountain until you got out to the end where the road went from the top of the mountain to the bottom. And on that road, they would have people spaced. Those were the standers. So if the bear came out ahead of you, you'd have to go in between those standers, and hopefully somebody would get a shot at it. So that was what we did. I was on the drive, but we ended the drive. We came out to the road where the standers were standing, and at that point, we had pushed a bear ahead of us. 3 of those people standing on that road saw it, actually shot at it, but nobody downed it. So they're all standing there. It was raining at the time. They're all standing around in a group. There was like, 15 guys. 3 of them are saying, oh, I shot at it. I thought I hit it because I saw its rear end go down on the road, which could have just been the bear slipping because it was so slippery from being wet. And while they're standing there talking, I went up over the bank alongside of the road in the direction that the bear supposedly headed. When I got up over the bank, I did see a drop of blood on the ground. So I ran off in the direction the bear was heading while they were all standing down there talking. And I only went maybe 150 yards, and I saw the bear. It was standing up. It was about to try to climb a tree. And when I saw it, I was close enough that I could get a shot at it. And I don't remember. I was so excited. I may have actually fired my rifle from the hip, but I hit it, and the bear fell. And then as I approached it, it started to moan, and the moan was very reminiscent of the time I remembered earlier when my father fell off a scaffold from the second floor of our house and landed on his back in the yard. And at that point, I thought someone was pulling a trick on me, that they were testing me, that they had dressed somebody up in a bear suit. So I approached this bear very cautiously from behind, and I was looking at its legs, looking to see if there was a zipper. And the closer I got, the more certain I was that it was not somebody in a costume, that it in fact was a genuine bear. And I got maybe 10 feet behind it while it was laying on the ground with its back to me. And then I fired another shot into the heart-lung area to finish it off. And that when they heard the first shot go off, they all broke from their group down on the road and decided to come up and see what was going on. And so right after I finished the second shot and ended up killing the bear, they were all caught up to me and were standing there in awe because there were 28 of us in that group hunting. 12-year-old boy went and found the bear and killed it.
Talk about what they did to your dad was proud, and did they do something with your shirt or something?
Yeah, I had his old Woolrich hunting shirt, which is a red and black plaid wool shirt, and they convinced me that this was part of the rite of passage. So they pulled my shirt tail out and cut a hunk off of it, which was later used to clean the knife that field dressed the bear. And then we had a 1964 International Scout four-wheel drive vehicle, and my father was so proud. We were pulling a trailer with us. They tied the bear across the hood of it, and we drove all the way home from here to where I lived near Harrisburg, which was, I guess it's about a 150-mile drive or so. The bear strapped on the hood of the vehicle. Then we got home, and the bear had, like I said, already been field dressed. We got home, and first we put the bear out in our front yard, and they had it laying there on the ground like it was laying in a prone position, but they had a forked branch stuck in the ground under the neck to hold the head up. And the bear was actually slightly angled, and they had it laying there, and they took photographs. And that night was dark. My mother had a miniature poodle that she let outside. And then a couple minutes later, she's going, "Oh, that bear's still alive, it's moving." And here the miniature poodle had actually crawled into the body cavity of this bear and was manipulating it, moving it around. That she thought the bear was still alive, which obviously was impossible since it had its entrails removed. So we got a good laugh from that. And then after that night laying in the yard, the next morning we brought it into the garage and hung it from the ceiling joist in the garage, and then we proceeded to go ahead and skin it and butcher it. Well, the bear was a small bear. They estimated that it was actually like maybe only a little over a year old. They think that field dressed it weighed about 115 pounds. So we probably got about maybe 60 to 65 pounds of meat out of it, somewhere in that vicinity. And we had a big wash tub that they put salt into it to make a brine. And we butchered it, cut the cuts of meat, like the roast and the steaks and everything, put it into the salt brine for several hours, and then went ahead and took it out of there and wrapped it and froze it all. Yeah, so we had bear meat like probably once a week for the next 6-8 months. We had the hide with the head made into a rug. And they stretch the hide out and they preserve it. And then it's attached to a felt base with all 4 paws stretched out and the head with the mouth open and all that. And everything that I've ever had taxidermied back then, like I shot a deer that was pretty much a trophy, so my dad wanted to have the head mounted on that. It normally took anywhere from 9 months to a year when you sent something like that to the taxidermist. Back then, it wasn't bad. I mean, when you look at what the average salary was, I think the bear cost about $200 or $250. Most of the deer heads I shot later that I had mounted, they also cost about $250 just to have a head mount.
So whatever happened to the bear rug?
Well, we had moved a couple times, and it was getting harder and harder to keep this thing, and there was no place to display it because we were living in apartments. And we were getting ready to move out to Kansas City. So I actually took it out to a place where they had a flea market, and I sold it to them for like, I don't know, $25 or something. They in turn would resell it. I had a couple photographs. They were just black and white Polaroids. And I had them up until a few years ago. I've looked for them recently. Like we had a picture of me standing in the garage with the bear hung from the ceiling joist, and I'm still in my hunting suit with my rifle holding it proudly. For love me, I can't find those photographs. The memories are enough.
You know, Rick, you're right. Sometimes the memories are enough, but it's real nice to get this documented too. Not just for YouTube, but for your kids and your grandkids. This is a great story, and I'm so happy to be a part of handing this down to your family. And it was an honor to shoot this and watch you relive it as you told this story on the mountain where it actually took place. I thank you so much, Rick, for sharing this with everyone. That's a wrap, everyone. You know what to do if you like this video.
You all come back now, you hear?